We have this saying in Romania that the mother of retards is always pregnant. And I think she also converted to communism recently because all of her children happen to also be that. There is this subreddit, r anti-consumption, where a lot of individuals are raving against capitalism. And they're not raving against capitalism because people are poor and can't afford to eat. No, capitalism actually solved that issue. Instead, we have such an abundance of food that people are throwing it away. And so you have brainlets like this guy pointing out that throwing food that's edible is a bad thing and it should be illegal. Now, look, I'm not against, people finding a problem in society, such as, okay, there's food that's being thrown away and there are homeless, hungry people over there. So why aren't the restaurants and the supermarkets feeding the homeless? It's a normal thing to ask. What is not normal is to be so fucking incompetent that you can't even ask an AI. Because let's be honest, I'm not going to expect communists to actually go to the library and open some books and do some research. Like, obviously it's too much to ask, right? But you have the technology, like there have been already white people that slaved hard over a laptop in order to create the artificial intelligence for you to fucking use. Stop allowing other morons to gaslight you that asking Grok if it's true is something shameful. No, what's shameful is being a retard in public. That's fucking shameful. Asking the AI a simple question because it can do the research a lot faster is something that I would actually expect any person to do. It's not shameful that if you have the tools available to use them. But, right, the thing is, like, I personally didn't even use AI in order to figure this out because my first job when I was young was to work at KFC. Like, see, unlike communists, I actually worked for a living. And we did throw food. And I was, like, legitimately curious, like, why are we throwing it? Why can't we take it home? And I initially thought it's like, oh, well, they don't want us to take it home because then maybe we would make it so that there's more food to throw. Right? Like, we could actually cook more chicken than it's being serviced that day, and so we could take it home. But no, apparently not, that's not the reason. You see, the reason is that people have voted for regulations. Now, when you look at the party system who is actually for more regulations, it's usually leftist governments. Like, they're the ones that want more regulations. Almost every single leftist politician talks about more regulations. Now, I'm not saying that the regulations may not make sense. Like, some of them, especially the ones involving food poisoning, food contamination, all of that, have sense, right? But if you're a restaurant and you have to choose between throwing something away or giving it to the poor, you realize that throwing it away costs you nothing. Giving it to the poor is extremely expensive. Now, most people think, oh, well, it's the restaurant, it's greedy. Yeah, if it was your business, if it was your pocket, would you be greedy or would you give it to the poor? I think you'd be greedy, right? Because here's the thing. When you give it to the poor, you're also becoming responsible. That's the problem. If a restaurant gives food to the poor and the poor get sick, guess who's to blame? Meanwhile, if the restaurant throws the food in the trash can, and the homeless person picks the food up from the trash can and gets sick, guess who's to blame? It's one of the jokes of our society, really, like the trash can magically launders away the regulation. I don't think it should be like that. Many people do think it should be like that. Because if you have a politician that would come up and they would say, okay, so food that is being sold needs to have some standard. Food that is being given away can be given away without standards. Now, all of a sudden, also the communists would scream and they would say, oh, you're trying to poison the homeless. And so, notice how there is no correct solution. They're not offering one. Like, they're saying, like, throwing food away should be illegal. If you make it illegal to throw food away, do you know what companies do? They take the path of least resistance. Like, they would probably, just the market would create a company that takes the food away and disposes it somehow else. Maybe for animals or some shit. But I guarantee to you, it's not going to go to the poor. If you legitimately want the food to go to the poor, deregularize the market. The regulations are making it so that poor people can't eat. There are people in the comment section that pointed out that they too worked at various restaurants, and what they did is that they would place the food on top of the trash can rather than put it in, right? So it was kind of like an understanding that they had with the homeless people. But again, it's all because of the safetyism. Like, we want a safe society. Safe is now the word that politicians use. They used to use freedom and liberty. They don't use that anymore. Then they used equality and equity. They don't use that anymore. Now it's safetyism. We need to keep people safe. Safe is important. Safe. Okay, well, giving food that's spoiled, like, this is why most restaurants throw the food away, by the way, in case you didn't know, is because it's spoiled. Now, the spoilage, isn't it like, oh, it's past the expiration date, automatically it has mold on it? No, most expirations date are usually placed in advance, and it's on an average, right? So, like, you can have food that expired for 1 week and it's still healthy to eat. But restaurants cannot have that. They need to throw it away the moment the expiration date hits. And so if you were to be a restaurant and you're giving expired food to homeless people, how does that look? Yeah, what's the optics of that? Well, what would communists have to say? Because I guarantee to you, like, that food that's thrown away is probably food that's expired, right? Like, on the label. Not necessarily that it has mold or that it's bad. Like, I'm pretty sure people could eat it. And most oftentimes they do if they find it. But if you look at the label, it's past the expiration date. So, like, okay, you want homeless people to get expired food from the restaurant. Huh? Should the restaurant put the brand and the logo on it as it does this? Again, communists are really good at finding problems. They're never good at finding solutions. It's like, should be made illegal. Okay, I guarantee to you that if it was, homeless people still would not be able to eat it. But I think like France and many other countries are actually doing this type of thing. And you can see how the product becomes more expensive. Because if you're forcing the restaurant to spend more money on refrigeration, to hire staff in order to deliver the food, and like all the logistics involved, which the communists aren't willing to pay for, what ends up happening is that the product for the customer becomes more expensive, right? Because the restaurant isn't going to pay out of its own pockets, which is going to increase the cost. And so you end up with customers paying more, you end up with the homeless people still not getting fed, but you do end up with a lot of grifters down the line, right? Like the people that do the supply chains and the consultants and all of those, like, they get paid. And it's usually, this is why laws like you have in France or like this chucklehead is suggesting exist. So that someone else can make a buck out of an industry that doesn't need him. But anyway, right, let me know what you guys think. And as usual, we'll see each other in the comment section. Take care.